Can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fights, oh, the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket trembling, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, traitors, that's the spangled banner, yeah, wave for the land under the frame, and the home of the brave. Because we are the brave. Yes, we are the brave. We'll fight you in the name of the brave. We are the US of A. For those unaware, that flag is still there. It's our future to save. Stand of the brave, the US of A. Oh, traitors, that's the spangled banner, yeah, wave for the land under the frame, and the home of the
When you're ready,
Surf Pro, how can we help?
help gets there faster. The cleanup specialists at 1-800-SERVPRO and ServPro.com. Helping make fire and water damage like it never even happened.
Welcome, race fans, men and women, boys and girls of all ages, to the Domino's TYJ Racing Vintage Fender Truck Series, live on All Pro Broadcasting for the Serve Pro 175. We are here in Long Pond, Pennsylvania for the Pocono International Raceway track, a 2.5 mile triangle. There is no turn 4. Welcome, fans. Looking forward to a great race. We got a whole field of very talented truck drivers tonight. Also, we've got some of the best camera angles you're going to see thanks to Michael D'Amico with All Pro Broadcasting. Make sure, fans, you click that subscribe button. That way you get the automatic alert. So you get a chance to win that free pizza. We'll go over details on how to do that in just a few minutes. Welcoming in the booth tonight is my good friend Curtis Young. How you doing tonight, Curtis?
Pretty good, Robert. Excited to be here at Pocono, race number 18. We only have, this is our 5th last race until the chase starts, so it's getting down to crunch time for a lot of these guys.
Absolutely, that is correct. And while we're talking about the chase and crunch time, I think you might have the point standings handy. We can go over real quick and talk about who is looking good, who is not looking good, who's on the outside of the bubble, and who needs to get a win in one of these last 5 races. Go ahead, Curtis, if you have those points.
Yeah, top of the board right now is the 51 truck of James Ross. He's the most impressive part about that. He's only ran 15 races out of the 17 that we've won so far. He's got 6 wins and 11 top 5s, so he's got to be the favorite heading down into the chase to be your 2017 champion. But right behind him is Gerald Campbell. He's led the points for a lot of the season, and he finally got that win to lock himself into the chase, so he can get the win as well, and be a good battle. And Vernon Margheim's riding in 3rd right now. He's got 543 points, about 30 back from Gerald Campbell in the 2nd spot. Jack Watts sits in 4th. Gary Sexton rounds out your top 5. He just got his first win of the season on Sunday for our only dirt race of the season at Eldora there. And Tyler Chalk rides in the 6th position. Actually, he's tied with Gary Sexton for that 5th position. So Andrew Kessler rides just 3 points behind them in the 6th position. William Locklear sits in 8th with 501. Judd Danielson sits in 9th with 507, and Jeremy Crandall rounds out your top 10. He's made his way up there. I think that's the first week he's been inside the top 10 so far this season. He sits at 475.
Yeah, good for Jeremy. I tell you what, he is Mr. Consistent on the track. And these drivers that have a win, they are locked into the chase, which will start after the 5 races from tonight, including tonight. We do have 2 rounds of the chase. It's going to be super exciting. We start with 20 that qualify for the chase, whittle it down to 12 for the championship at New Hampshire. We like to make things a little different than what you see in real life in the Camping World Truck Series, fans, because we want to see a big-time show coming into the season at Homestead. And we're definitely going to see that with those 12 guys doing every single thing they can to get the win of that race and get the championship. So, Curtis, who's looking good in qualifying so far?
Well, top of the board, no surprise. He's leading your point standings. James Ross, ran a 55.8. And Josh Tanner, he also has 2 wins this season. He's missed quite a few races this season in his number 84 truck. He ran a 55.801, so almost identical times between those 2 drivers. And looks like William Hartman's back out here. He was out at Eldora racing his dirt truck, and he's back at Pocono here. He's always a contender, so look out for him as well. He's also ran under a 56-second lap time.
Thanks a lot, Curtis. It does look like we got some fast drivers here. A couple of these guys have already got a win or 2. A couple of guys that are fast here tonight do not have a win yet here in the trucks in the Den and Fender Truck Series. So it's going to be exciting to see how they line up. And this is a long 2.5 mile triangle. There are 3 uniquely different turns, fans. You're probably aware of that. And that's exactly where these guys are going to have to make their moves, pass with finesse, to get around other drivers, even later deep in the race when they approach lap down trucks. But it's going to be a battle, and we're going to see long green flag runs. We're going to see exciting restarts, and we're going to see some serious passing and competition, even some strategy calls to get this race victory tonight. And we're coming off of our Crown Jewel race, which was last week. And so these guys are definitely looking to get a win and get themselves put in the chase for the season. So it looks like qualifying is over, Curtis. If you want to go through the starting lineup, might want to give these guys just a second to get ready.
Yeah, just these guys are all just getting strapped up here, getting ready to go. Starting on the pole, though, we have the 51 of James Ross, your points leader. He's going to lead them to the green flag here tonight for the Serve Pro 175. Josh Tanner starting to his outside in the second spot. William Hartman in his number 67 machine is going to start from the third position tonight. Gary Sexton to his outside. Giovanni Bromanti's going to round out your top 5 in the 166 of Ralph Vandervoort starting in 6th tonight. 81 of Shane Parrish. He actually owns a Serve Pro franchise, I do believe. Sponsors quite a few of these races, so thanks to Shane. Hopefully you have a good run tonight, starting in 7th spot tonight. Jeff T. Martin in the number 15 truck starts to his outside in P8. Eric Stanford starting in 9th place tonight, and Blake Griffith rounds out your top 10. Gerald Campbell in his number 6 No Scars No Story Chevrolet starting in the 11th spot tonight. Mark Jackson to his outside in his number 3 machine. Tim Rangers in the number 70 starting at P13 tonight, with Jack Watts right beside him in his number 66 starting 14th. Andrew Kessler starts from the 15th position tonight, with Judd Danielson by his side in the 16th position. Vernon Markheim rolls off P17 with William Locklear to his outside in his number 4 machine. Joe Johnson starting 19th tonight, and Wesley Whitfield is going to round out your top 20. Sean Kalis will start from P21 in his number 45 machine. James Somke rounds out your drivers that took a qualifying time in 22nd spot. Everybody else did not take a qualifying time. It looks like there's about 5 drivers that chose to do so. That is the 07 of Tyler Chalk, the 11 of William Davis, the 72 of Ivan Garcia, 36 of Michael Fravert, and the 73 of Jeremy Crandall are going to tag on at the end of the field here. And Jeremy's made his way up into the top 10, so I'm sure he's just looking to have some consistent finishes. He should be safely in the chase as long as he can stay about where he is. We do have 8 drivers that are locked in by wins. Those drivers are James Ross, Gerald Campbell, Gary Sexton, Andrew Kessler has 2 wins as well. Mark Jackson, Jeff T. Martin, the 81 of Shane Parrish, and Josh Tanner. They are all locked into the chase. They don't need to do anything other than Josh Tanner's missed quite a few races, and he's sitting in 27th spot. So as long as he can make it out the next couple races and keep his points inside the top 30, he'll be safely in there with his 2 wins. And yeah, it'll just be interesting to see if we can get a different winner, because 8 different people locked in just by wins is quite a few out of 20 drivers that make the chase. So it'll be interesting these next 5 races to see what happens.
Yes, sir, Curtis. Again, fans, you are watching the Serve Pro 175. Right before we go green here, Serve Pro, they have the fastest response time to any disaster you will ever have in your home. They are ready for whatever happens. Serve Pro can make it like it never even happened. We'll talk more about them soon. I'll let you take this start, Curtis.
Green flag is in the air at Pocono here tonight for the Serve Pro 175. We got 70 laps on top here. James Ross leads them down into turn 1. Everybody looks like they're still double file here. And looks like they're almost... Gary Sexton's trying to work the outside of it. Caution is out already. Let's see what happened here. Looks like the 70 of Tim Rangers goes around in turn 1. Looks like the 98 of Andrew Kessler gets caught up in that, and the 85 of Judd Danielson involved as well.
Yes, sir, fans. We'll get that replay pulled up real quick here, and we'll see exactly what just happened. Yeah, it looks like the 98 truck, unfortunately, of Andrew Kessler did not realize the 70 of Tim Rangers was going to break that quick going into turn one. He just barely got to the back bumper of the 70 of Tim Rangers. That got him up into the 85. Both of those trucks went around. Actually, Judd Danielson was able to save it. Great driving by him. Looks like just a couple of vehicles were involved there. So I don't think anybody got any major damage.
Yeah, Judd Danielson got doored pretty hard there. I think he has a little bit of left side damage, but hopefully he can get it repaired and he'll be all right. Downforce is pretty critical here at Pocono. You can pretty much draft down these straightaways, and you need all the downforce you can get. Any damage is going to hurt you. So Andrew Kessler's front end looks pretty beat up, and Tim Rangers doesn't look too good either. So those guys, not too sure they're going to have the night they wanted, but especially Tim Rangers, his front end looks pretty junk, and his back end has some damage as well. So not sure if he's going to even be able to get that thing fully repaired.
Yeah, the good news is they did not get a whole lap in. The bad news is they did not complete a lap yet. So not many positions have changed here. But these guys are going to get lined back up and have another go at the restart here. Yeah, like I said, this is a Servpro 175. Well, we got a minute, fans. Appreciate you tuning in. We're going to go over real quick how you can win that free large Domino's TYJ pizza. It is pretty simple. We've given many of these away over the last many weeks. We have a winner almost every single week. Every now and again, we don't get a winner. And sometimes the winners are nice enough to send me a picture of them with the pizza, which I do put on my personal Facebook page. But tonight, all you have to do, fans, to win that free large Domino's pizza is by halfway of this race, which is lap 35. You can either text 919-883-7497, or if you're watching in the live chat, you can comment in the live chat, I picked this driver to win. Again, the first fan to accurately predict the winner of this race before lap 35 will get that free large 3-topping Domino's pizza, carry out only. We do not bring it to you. And a couple of pointers, do not pick more than one driver. You can wait until lap 25, 15, 29, 30 to find out exactly who you want to pick. But if you pick one driver on lap 10, another driver on lap 25 because your driver got wrecked out, another driver, on lap 32, none of your picks count. So you get one pick, take your time. I do look at every single pick that comes through the live chat, and I look at every text I get on my phone. Again, that number is 919-883-7497, or comment in the live chat. Good luck. Curtis, any changing up front?
Nothing really. It looks like everybody pretty much held their position. Gary Sexton and William Hartman swapped spots there. Everybody else pretty much where they started for the most part. A couple people swapping inside and outside row, but that's about it. They didn't really have time to get much done. They didn't even make it out of turn one.
It does give these guys time to make sure everything, all their equipment's working, all their fans are on as they need them to be. They also are going to have some kind of strategy on this track. Curtis, did you hear how far these drivers can go on a tank of fuel?
I'm going to guess probably about 25. Not 100% sure, though. I haven't done that many laps at Pocono in the truck.
Yeah, it sounds like 25 to 30 is about as far as these guys can go on a fuel run. So they're going to have to make 2 stops at least. Typically, fans, we might have a caution early in the race, which we just did. Then we usually get a long green flag run. Oftentimes we'll have 1, maybe 2 green flag cycles of pit stops. That's happened in more than half of our truck races this year. So stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. You can be looking and thinking about who you're going to pick for that free pizza based on the first 10, 15, 20 laps. But I can tell you one thing, fans and Curtis, strategy is going to come into play here. And so it's going to be exciting as these trucks are doubled up going down the back stretch, getting ready to enter turn 3. We do have the same leaders up front. We've got James Ross in that Jegs Toyota. We've got Josh Tanner behind him. Josh Tanner's in that Hickory Springs Chevrolet Silverado. We've got Eric Stanford in that ES Billiards Tundra real quick. Mark Jackson over the top, Paints and Design Silverado number 3. Gerald Campbell in that Veterans of Foreign Wars Chevrolet Silverado. I'll let you take the restart. Go ahead. Actually, we're still in the...
Yeah.
We got one more corner, right?
Yeah, it's a little bit weird, I know. But yeah, one more corner until green here, and green flag waves pretty much as soon as the pace car pulls off here, so there's not much of an option for the leader to really have much control on when you go. That's another interesting thing to take into factor tonight, is the outside line is going to should get just as good of a jump most of the time as the inside line. It's like Josh Tanner is going to do just that, stay pretty much even with James Ross, headed down to turn 1. We'll see if James can get clear and can get back up and get the line. If not, Josh Tanner might be able to get the crossover, and he is going to be able to enter the corner a little bit higher. We'll see if he'll be able to get the job done.
Yeah, it looks like Gio Bramante was looking at the high line to make it 3 wide going into turn 1, but he chose better of that. He falls back in line behind Josh Tanner in that iRacers Digest machine. So that leaves us James Ross leading, Josh Tanner second, Gio Bramante, excuse me, that is actually Gary Sexton in that 3rd place truck. Sorry about that.
And we have another caution, and that looks like a big wreck.
Yes, fans, we're going to pull that caution up real quick to find out exactly what happened.
Looked like the 81 of Shane Parrish just, I don't know if he didn't know the 15 of Jeff Martin was there, but he just turned straight up on him, and 15 of Jeff T. Martin just came right back down, hit the 24 Eric Stanford, the 6 of Gerald Campbell, the 66 of Jack Watts. 71 gets involved, 63, 33, the 4, the 36, just a lot of trucks involved in that one.
Yes, it definitely looks like, as we have the replay pulled up, the 81 of Shane Parrish has got the high lane going into the corner. He gets a great run on the 15, goes to the inside of him, and right as he's about to clear him, not sure if he had a spotter miscommunication. It looks like he just barely was not clear. And it looks like maybe even Jeff T. Martin was looking to come down and fall in right behind him. Both of these trucks got together, and that turned the 81 Serv Pro truck of Shane Parrish, unfortunately, head first into the outside wall. 15, like you just said, the 24 got involved, the 6 got involved. We had all other trucks piling in here, the 4, the 83, the 33. I know I should be naming these names: Werner Margheim, Joe Johnson, William Locklear.
Yeah, there was just so many trucks piled up into one. I was just ringing off the numbers, but yeah, those drivers obviously probably not going to have the finish they wanted tonight. Or like I said, any damage here in Pocono really hurts you.
Absolutely, Curtis. Now these drivers have had, well, maybe 2 or 3 laps on the tires now. You think anybody's going to take the opportunity to pit at this point?
Well, it looks like James Ross is going to, and the 84 of Josh Tanner and the 17 of Gary Sexton are staying out. Blake Griffith as well is staying out. Gio Bramante follows him down pit road, as well as William Hartman. So we'll see who all stays out when it cycles out here. I know James Somke and Tyler Chalk, Mark Jackson, Blake Griffith, and Gary Sexton have all stayed out, as well as Josh Tanner. So their tires should be just fine. They didn't even make it a lap. Green flag both times, so they should be just fine.
Thank you, sir. So these drivers that came down pit road, including James Ross, he beats everybody off of pit road. Looks like Ralph Vander Vorst in that 166 has come off of pit road as well. Behind him, Gio Bramante. Judd Danielson got some service on his truck. 4 Goodyear Eagles and a can, not even a whole can of Sunoco racing fuel. We're so early in the race. William Hartman in that Aegis Motorsports number 67 Toyota was on pit road having work done, as well as Jeremy Crandall. So Curtis, you've raced on this track many times. I'm not sure if one of your many wins last year was here at Pocono in the truck, but you know how to race on this track. What do you recommend these drivers do once we get into that green flag run, which I fully expect we'll get here?
Well, yeah, this track definitely isn't one of my best ones, but from what I know, you, in turn one, you want to run as low as you can, or maybe run that second groove up if the truck's starting to get a little bit loose. I'm not sure what kind of conditions these guys are dealing with, but through the tunnel turn, you want to get as low as possible, and then turn 3, you pretty much run right on that dark strip in the very middle of the track, very middle upper groove of the track, kind of. So if you get too low, it's really easy to get loose coming off turn 3 and loop the truck around. So you got to pretty much run up as close to the wall as you can without getting below that black strip in turn 3. And in the more powerful vehicles like the Cup car, these guys, they tend to shift, or just the setup these guys have right now. I don't think many of them are shifting, because I did a couple of test laps and it seemed like if you were to be shifting, you were still shifting before you even had your wheel straight coming off the corner. So it's just the gearing just didn't make any sense to shift, whereas sometimes the real life NASCARs, the Cup cars, you see these guys shifting at Pocono, at least in turn 1 anyway. So let's see if any of these guys do try and shift tonight.
I tell you what, Curtis, it does look like we have had a shakeup. Some of those drivers did pit, so this restart is going to put Josh Tanner in that number 84 in the lead for the restart here. Gary Sexton, who qualified 4th, will be starting 2nd. Blake Griffin in the number 2 will be starting 3rd. He qualified all the way back in 10th, so he's made a lot of moves up front. Mark Jackson, the number 3, over the top paints and designs Silverado, will be restarting 5th. 4th. He qualified 12th. Tyler Chalk did not take a qualifying time. He's up to 5th here in that 07. James Somke's got a beautiful truck tonight. He is up to 6th, qualified 22nd. James Ross did come down pit road. He's restarting 7th. Curtis, is going to be interested to see if James Ross can get back to the front, how many laps it will take him. Ralph Vandervoorst pitted as well. He's up to 8th in that 166. Judd Danielson started 16th. He's up to 9th. And William Hartman started 3rd. He did come down pit road, and he is restarting in 10th.
And if these guys can only make it 25 green flag laps on a cycle, James Ross might be able to make one less pit stop than he definitely won't be able to do that, but he has the option to have a little bit different of a strategy coming down pit road. He'll be starting from the 7th position, but we'll see if he can make it back up to Josh Tanner and Gary Sexton, who are running similar times in practice and qualifying, and elected to stay out on older tires. It's here on lap 9, but I think about 6 or 7 of these laps have been under caution, so just haven't had much time to wear the tires out, and I think James Ross is going to have a little bit of work to do to get back up to these guys.
I agree totally. He's going to have a lot of trucks double file in front of him. So he's going to have to be patient. He's going to have to be careful. And he's going to have the right moves. Hopefully his spotter has got the binoculars out. This is a huge, enormous track. He may have 2 spotters in here this afternoon for the race. But he's definitely going to need some good spotting, some good directions, and he's going to have to hope for no problems in front of him. I tell you what I'm interested to see is our good friend Mark Jackson, number 3 over-the-top Chevrolet Silverado. He's always got strategy. He's won a race earlier this season on fuel strategy. It's too hard to predict that this early in the race, but that is going to come into play, and he is one of the best in our series. I'll let you take the restart there, Curtis.
Green flag, green flag.
Pace cars off their green flag again. Josh Tanner going to lead him to the restart this time. He gets a good jump on the inside lane. Gary Sexton, it looked like a little bit of a delay. He just wasn't quite ready, I guess. But I'm not sure if Blake Griffith is going to get to his inside by the time they hit turn 1. Doesn't look like he's going to. But back to Mark Jackson. He last week we ran the Xfinity car at Indianapolis, and he almost got the win there. So that I kind of find Pocono and Indianapolis a little bit similar, even though they're completely different. They're just the way you have to drive them. They're pretty similar, and he was good there last week. He looks like he's pretty good here this week, and he started in the where did he start here? He started in P12, and he just didn't pit there on that cycle, put himself in the 3rd position, so I'm sure he'll be up here in the top 5 all night now.
Yeah, the similarity between Pocono and Indy is these corners are pretty flat. One thing that's not similar is Pocono is very wide on this front straightaway, and they're coming to the start-finish line. They can go 3, 4, 5, 6 wide on the restarts if they want to. Once they pass the start-finish, they can even go 3 wide into turn 1. The next turn, I think, is called the tunnel turn, is a little bit trickier to go more than 2 wide. But at Indy, you've got to pretty much be two wide or less all the way around the track. So there's some similarities as far as getting around a flat corner, but that's where the similarities end. Other than the distance, 2.5 miles.
And keeping an eye on James Ross. He's got by James Somke, and he's currently getting a run underneath the 07 of Tyler Chalk, looking to make the pass into turn 3. He's going to be able to do just that and slide up into the 5th position, set his sights on Blake Griffith for 4th.
Exactly. Blake Griffin is running that new paint scheme tonight. It's a beautiful black and blue Chevrolet Silverado. Sponsor on his truck tonight is Hickory Springs Manufacturing. That's his main sponsor. He is up in the 4th position. While we're going green, we're going to go through the field just one quick time here. Then I'm going to give you some more information on how to win that free pizza. The leader right now is Josh Tanner in that number 84. He is driving that iRacers Digest Toyota Tundra. Behind him in 2nd, we've got Gary Sexton, that Hex Cam Silverado number 17. Back in 3rd, we have Mark Jackson in that number 3 over the top Paints and Design Chevrolet Silverado. 4th position, we have Blake Griffin, just talked about him. In 5th, and it's getting past, it's passing the number 2 of Blake Griffin is James Ross in that Jegs Spill Fix Toyota Tundra number 51. They are side by side as they're going to the start-finish line. It looks like Blake Griffin has got the advantage, and James Ross is probably going to peek down on the inside here as they turn into turn 1, diving in at about 182, 184, 5 miles an hour. It looks like Blake Griffin is going to give him room, although Blake battles back on the outside. This is a great battle coming into turn 1 as they come off of turn 1. Who's got the momentum going down the back stretch here? It looks like they are still side by side. Curtis, what are you seeing?
Yeah, they're still side by side heading down into the tunnel turn, but the tunnel turn is where you want to be on the bottom, and yeah, Blake Griffith is going to have to back it off a little bit early there and basically gives the spot to James Ross. But turn 1 is definitely, I think the outside line is the spot to be. If you can pin that person down to the very bottom, it's if you're on the bottom, you need to be able to swing out and use the entire track, and you can't do that if there's another truck to your outside. So I think if you're side by side in 1, the outside is the place to be, but if that truck on the inside can stay even with you, caution is out. And it looks like it's Jeremy Crandall that goes around on the front stretch. He has minimal contact on the front stretch. Tim Rangers just barely misses him.
Yeah, we're bringing that replay up right now for you fans. It does look like the 73 got his foot in the gas coming out of turn 3, because there is no turn 4 here at Pocono, and he just gets a little bit loose, spins it around. Jeremy is driving that number 73 Charlie's Asphalt Maintenance truck. Looks like he just got a little bit of left front fender, left rear fender damage. He also has Scoops Ice Cream on his truck. He'll be able to get back around, get on the pit road, get some work done. And I think, Curtis, at this point, lap 21, we are going to step aside and take our very first commercial break. Again, fans, you are watching the Serve Pro 175 live on All Pro Broadcasting. Serve Pro has the fastest response time to any disaster you will ever have. And we're going to have the fastest return time from commercial fans. We'll be back in just a minute.
there faster. The cleanup specialists at 1-800-SERVPRO and ServPro.com. Helping make fire and water damage like it never even happened.
Hey, this is Garrett Smithley, driving the number 0 JD Motorsports Chevrolet, and you're watching All Pro Broadcasting.
Welcome back, race fans, to the Domino's TYJ Racing Dented Fender Truck Series, live on All Pro Broadcasting here at Long Pond, Pennsylvania at the Pocono International Raceway. Curtis Young, I noticed on those pit stops one thing, I'm not sure what you noticed, but James Ross in that number 51 truck, he only took right side tires with his Sunoco Racing Fuel. He did get the lead, looks like, coming off the pit road. My question is, how long?
He did not, because Ivan Garcia stayed out, and I think... I'm not too sure, but I think James Ross only did that because he overshot his pit box and he knew he was going to lose probably all the positions that he just gained on that short green flag run that we just had. So I think he put himself in a little bit of a position that he didn't really want to be in.
Yes, sir. Thanks, Curtis. I did notice he slipped through the pit box. I was thinking it was a strategy move. And yes, you're absolutely right. Ivan Garcia. It looks like Ivan stayed out. Ivan is driving that Tide Dawn Chevy Silverado number 72. Looks like Ivan, he started the race back in 25th. He's getting credit for leading a lap or two here. We'll see if he comes into pit road this time or not. The lights are still on the pace car Mustang GT. So we'll see what happens with Ivan Garcia. He may stay out, and that's going to make a very interesting restart here for all these guys. Again, fans, we are getting closer and closer to halfway, lap 35. Make sure you get your pick in for the free large Domino's pizza. Curtis, at this stage in the race, it looks like we've got, other than Ivan Garcia, some of the same guys up front that started the race, with the exception of Mark Jackson, who started in 12th. He's up to 4th. So we got James Ross in 2nd, Josh Tanner in 3rd, Mark Jackson 4th. William Hartman was involved in that very first caution, had to restart in the back line. He's made his way back up to 5th. Blake Griffin in 6th. Ralph Vandervorst in 7th. James Somke is restarting in 8th. Judd Danielson 9th. And Tyler Chalk restarting in 10th.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting with Ivan Garcia on the inside line on 18 lap old tires, James Ross on the outside with 18 lap old left side tires, brand new right side tires, and everybody else behind them with new ones.
Yes, sir, Curtis, real quick. We've got Ralph Vandervorst in the 166 on the microphone right now. Ralph, how's your truck feeling? You're up here, looks like in the top 10, excuse me. You're actually running 7th. What do you think your chances are of pulling the win off tonight, or at least the top 3?
I'm just hoping for a top 10. I'm feeling pretty comfortable in here, but it's a tough track. It's hard to hold your patience, and patience is what I'm working on right now.
Hey, I appreciate it. We wish you a lot of luck, Ralph. Good luck, and hopefully we'll talk to you at the end of the race.
Thanks.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Ralph. So Curtis, as these drivers get ready for the restart, we're going to be coming to lap 19. So if you do the math real quick, assume these guys can go 25 laps on the fuel load.
They'll be close on making it on one more stop. So yeah, we'll see if that's possible. If they can run about 25 to 30 laps, 25 laps, they'll be real close. 30 laps, they can make it on one more stop. So we'll see what happens. Ivan Garcia is going to lead with the green flag this time.
Yes, sir. That's going to be very exciting here.
Green flag.
Ivan Garcia on the loud pedal in his tied Dawn Chevrolet Silverado. James Ross to the outside. Josh Tanner looks like he has a bit of a run on Garcia headed down into turn 1. James Ross has the advantage. And looks like James Ross is going to be able to grab the lead headed down into turn 1. And Josh Tanner stuck behind Ivan Garcia right now. Mark Jackson and William Hartman driving around the outside. Garcia on their tires, and they're 3 wide headed down the backstretch.
Yes, as they get ready to go into the tunnel turn, Josh Tanner moves to the outside of the 72. Looks like he's going to try to get around him right as they enter the corner here. They are keeping it clean and keeping it green so far. Great driving by these drivers. 3 watts of the tunnel torque. You don't see that very often, excuse me. But up front, it is all, looks like James Ross, as he has inherited that lead, passing the Tide Dawn machine going into turn 1. That's going to put Mark Jackson in second. William Hartman in third as William looks to the inside of Mark Jackson as they're diving off into turn 1. 182, 184, 185 miles an hour as they jam on the brakes. It looks like William Hartman will complete that pass. And no surprise here. Yeah, go ahead.
The crossover, though, well, it doesn't look like he's going to be able to do it. It looked like he had quite the run headed out of turn 1 there, but he's right on the back bumper headed into the tunnel turn.
Yes, it looks like, Blake Griffith is right behind him in the 4th position.
Oh, and Hartman just got up into the wall.
He sure did. He lost all of his momentum. Looks like the 3 of Mark Jackson's getting around him. The 2 of Blake Griffin's getting around him. And that's also going to allow, looks like, Josh Tanner to get a great run on him. I don't know how much damage he's got on the right side. I think he had a little bit of front end damage earlier, but his truck is still running pretty competitively quick speeds. He's going to be diving off into turn 1 at about the exact same speed he did last lap, around 182 miles an hour. Obviously, Curtis, these tires do have some fall off on this very old asphalt surface here at Pocono. So these drivers are going to lose, what do you think, about a quarter of a second a lap or more than that?
Yeah, I think they fall off about 2 to 3 seconds by the end of a run. Oh, Jeremy Crandall and Vernon Markheim, that was pretty close. Looked like Crandall had a run on the outside of Markheim, and Markheim moved up a little bit, and Crandall had to lift, but they keep it out of each other. Both of those guys have already been involved in a wreck, as have Gerald Campbell and Tim Rangers in front of them. Tim Rangers is side by side with, I believe that's Michael Fravor in the number 36.
That is true. That is Michael Fravor.
Oh,
he's in that Twinkies.
Gets loose and wiggles in front of Vernon Markheim. Markheim has to swerve to avoid that, and it looks like the 89 of Giovanni Bromanti gets a big run on him, or maybe it was Markheim who wiggled.
No, I think you're absolutely right. It was Michael Fravor in that Twinkies number 36 Toyota Tundra. He gathered it back up, didn't hit anything, no harm, no foul. And Gio in that number 89 Aegis Motorsports Toyota Tundra, working his way back up. He had to serve a penalty earlier, fans. He got caught speeding on pit road, I think is what it was. Had to serve that penalty, and now he's making his way back up front. Looks like he's being shown in 19th position. Still on the lead lap. Good for Gio.
And Jack Watts is working on the back bumper, the number 98 of Andrew Kessler right now. They both dive it low in turn number 3. Kind of surprising. I've seen a lot of these guys running up in the black strip. Jack Watts gets a little bit loose coming off the corner there. You'll see that these guys are running the bottom in turn 1, but Jack Watts gets the run on Andrew Kessler. He's to the inside, headed down into turn number 1. We'll see if the inside will work for Jack Watts. If he drives it all the way to the bottom, he's going to. It looks like Andrew Kessler is going to get the run on the outside and get clear before they hit the back stretch.
Yeah, thank you so much, Curtis. Looking back up front, James Ross and that number 51 Jegs drill spill has pulled out to almost a 2-second lead over Mark Jackson. Might be over 2 seconds by the time he crosses the start-finish line here. And behind Mark Jackson, we've had another change for position. Looks like Blake Griffith has moved up into the third position, right behind Mark Jackson. And he's getting a mirror full of Josh Tanner in that iRacing Digest number 84. He's getting close to him. He's probably going to try to look underneath him going into turn 1 here. But he stays behind him as they get around through that very, very tricky turn number 1. That's the highest speed corner on the track. Wouldn't you agree, Curtis?
I think the tunnel turn is a little bit faster, but yeah, they're all pretty quick. The key to this track is rolling it through the corner using their heavy braking zones. Turn 1 is a heavy braking zone, but you got to try and roll it as much as you can through there. It really feels like you have to use a lot of brakes when you really don't. So.
Yes, sir, Curtis. Right now we got side by side Gary Sexton in that 17 Hicks cam. He's looking on the inside of the number 1. That would be the machine of James Somke. Looks like he is going to be able to pass him. And real quick, James Somke has got a new sponsor on his truck tonight, fans. He is driving that Mountain Dew Old School Kickstart Chevrolet Silverado number 1, green and black. Beautiful, beautiful paint job on there. We've got a lot of great paint jobs on these trucks tonight. We're happy these guys spend the extra effort and or money in some cases to look good going fast. By the way, that is the motto for iWraps, which is one of our sponsors, one of our drivers. Joe Johnson, I think, had issues earlier in the race, had to exit. Too much damage to his truck. I just stole his line. But obviously, iWraps is a great company if you need any kind of paint for your truck or your Xfinity car or your Indy car or your dirt car. Anything you've got on iRacing, Joe Johnson with iWraps.com can get you covered. Literally. Absolutely. Go ahead.
Side by side right now for the 10th position, Judd Danielson, and looks like William Davis in his number 11 machine. He gets clear, and Judd Danielson's going to pull behind him. Davis grabs onto the 10th position, and looks like Judd Danielson's truck is going to be all right after that little bit of damage that he got earlier.
Yeah, I don't think he's got any more harm for wear there. He's keeping up really good lap speeds here. In front of him, William Davis. He's in that number 11. Owens Well Service Chevrolet Silverado. He gets around the Southeast Motorsports truck, the 07 of Tyler Chalk. So that'll move Tyler Chalk in that beautiful Toyota Tundra Southeast Motorsports blue and white back to the 10th position. And behind him, we're just talking about Judd Danielson, that 85 Domino's Pizza truck. He's having a good run. Got a little damage, he's saying. And behind him, we're looking at Eric Stanford's truck, the ES Billiards Toyota Tundra. He has definitely got some right front fender damage. Curtis, I'm not sure if that's going to be slowing him back down much at all. He's back in the 12th position. Anybody catching James Ross up front?
It doesn't look like it. Josh Tanner has made his way around Mark Jackson and Blake Griffith up into the 2nd position. He's 2.8 seconds back, so we'll see if that gap shrinks at all. They were about the same, ran about the same hot lap time in qualifying, so it'll be interesting to see if Josh Tanner can match James Ross's long run speed that we know he always has.
Yes, sir. You mentioned Josh Tanner. We're going to take this opportunity, fans, to do a quick Domino's TYJ Racing driver profile. Josh Tanner, that number 84. He is from Knoxville, Tennessee, Josh is. His main sponsor is the iRacer Digest. Also, the Tombras Group. He has spent 7 years in the sim. He's already got 1 win, maybe 2 wins, I think, this year. Is that not correct, Curtis?
Yeah, he has 2 wins.
Yeah, so he's looking good, running second now. He's definitely got to be a favorite to pick for that free pizza for the win. Fans, you've got about 7 laps. Yeah, he just barely grazed the wall.
I think he'll be fine. I just traded a little bit of paint with the wall, but that was close. He had to get out of the gas.
Yeah, he sure did, fans. You got about 7 more laps, 6 laps, I guess, coming to the start-finish to get your pick in. 2 simple ways you can get your pick in for the free Domino's 3-topping large pizza, fans. The first way is real simple. All you have to do is text 919-883-7497. Say, I picked this driver to win the race. Or if you're watching the live chat, we monitor both. You can say, I choose this driver to win the race. The first fan to correctly pick the winner of this race before lap 35 in about 6 laps, who only picks one driver. Again, do not pick 2 drivers, 3 drivers. Don't change your mind. If you made a pick earlier, the first fan to actually pick the winner of this race will win a free large 3-topping Domino's pizza, carry out only. We do not bring it to you in these trucks. Any Domino's store in the United States of America, we've given away free pizzas from the East Coast to the West Coast, from the borders of Canada. I think we gave one away in Canada, as a matter of fact, all the way down to the Texas-Mexico border. So fans, anywhere you are, get your pick in.
Yeah, got about 5 laps left to do that, and should have about 10 laps left till these guys have to head down pit road again. It'll be interesting to see if they do have to make 1 stop or 2. If they can't make it to at least lap 43, I'm going to say they'll have to pit again after this next stop.
Yeah, it looks like we got some side-by-side battling right here for 16th position. Looks like we have Jeremy Crandall, talked about him earlier in that 73. He is right beside, looks like, Gerald Campbell of that 6, veteran of Orange Wars. And it looks like he is able to complete that pass going into turn 1, which is a good thing to do if you can. Although it looks like the 6 is battling back on the inside of Gerald Campbell. They get close, they do not touch. And Gerald Campbell will retake that position. Yeah, again, Gerald Campbell is driving that veteran of Foreign Wars truck. No scars, no story. We appreciate him sponsoring a military scheme on his truck in that number 6 Silverado, as well as everybody who does. We send our hearts out to all past, fallen military men and women, and we appreciate all the current and future military personnel serving all around the world. We give a big shout out here at Domino's TYJ Racing to all those people.
There goes the 89 of Giovanni Bromanti past Judd Danielson for the 11th position. So I think the last time we talked about Gio, he was back in about the 20th position still, trying to make his way back up. So he's almost back inside the top 10, and we'll see if he maybe tries to short pit his teammate a little bit and gain some positions that way.
Sometimes that's what you got to do. If it looks like you're going to have a long green flag run, which we could have at this point, we'll see. Short pitting could be a big advantage on this track. From what I understand, Curtis, correct me if I'm wrong, if you're in the top 5 or 6, you can usually get that pit stop made without going a lap down and stay on the lead lap, and you'll have the fresher tires. Even if you do get passed by the leader by a few seconds, typically you'll have enough tire and time to run him back down and get your lead back.
Oh, and somebody's going sideways. Didn't see who that was. That's Tyler Chalk. He got right sideways coming off of turn 3. Almost pointed his truck right down into the pit lane, but he saved it and made his way back up there. That was a close call for the 07 machine.
Yeah, I think these trucks are losing the grip on these tires. They've been out here running. I'm not sure how long it's been since the last restart we had. They're Curtis, if you got that information, take your time. But these trucks and the tires have worn away. This is a very, very hot track today. Looks like the track temperature is 106 degrees.
All right, man, caution is out. Caution is out.
And that's exactly what some of these drivers were hoping for, to get some brand new tires on the trucks. And we'll find out exactly what was involved. Give us just a second or two to get this replay pulled up.
Yeah, it looks like the number 6 and the 73 of Gerald Campbell and Jeremy Crandall get together coming off at turn number 1. Gerald Campbell was just looked like he was going for the crossover move and just didn't have quite enough room. Gave the 73 a little bit of a bump in the wrong place, wrong time, and ended up putting himself around too. Looks like both of those guys avoid any further contact, but that's what brings the caution out.
Yeah, it looks like the 6 veteran of Foreign Wars, we're just talking about him, great driver. He did make a little bit of contact with the 73. And it looks like both of these trucks were able to maintain and not have any kind of major damage whatsoever. They both got it pointed in the right way. So both of these trucks will be able to continue. And like I said, most of these drivers are looking for some new tires and 2 cans of Sunoco Racing fuel. That way they can get to the end. And these pit stops are really going to be interesting. Curtis, I'll let you let us know what's going on pit road.
Yeah, and the interesting part is if we go green from here, we're still gonna have to make one green flag pit stop, and it's not gonna be like you're just running your fuel tank out. I think they're gonna be able to divide it up how they want to, so within reason anyway. They're not gonna have to drain their fuel run to make it to the end, I don't think. And yeah, James Ross, I'm sure he didn't want to see that. He was pulling away from the field on remember, he took only 2 right side tires on that last pit stop. That was on lap 18, I do believe, was when these guys were last down pit road. So 15 laps ago, they're heading down pit lane right now. James Ross is going to lead them down.
Yes, sir. James has got that long trip down pit road at 60 miles an hour. His spotter, his crew chief are saying, do not go over the speed limit. You do not want to get busted for speeding here on pit road. It looks like James Ross in that Jegs.com Tundra slides into his pit box, the first one. Looks like the crew's going around the right side. Yes, he's getting 2 right side brand new Goodyear Eagle tires as 1 can of Sunoco Racing fuel goes in. They go around the left side. Yes, he's getting 4 brand new Goodyear Eagles today. On this stop, the second can of Sunoco Racing fuel, he is off and away. What a very quick pit stop. That's got to be sub 14 second there on that pit stop.
Yeah, and I saw the 67 of William Hartman slide through his pit box, so he's going to lose a spot to Gary Sexton at least, I think, as well as Josh Tanner, so he's going to slide back 2 positions. And I heard Gary Sexton say on the last pit stop he slid through his pit box. He's still getting used to new pedals, so I watched him. He didn't make the mistake that time, and he qualified in 4th here tonight, and I think that last mistake cost him a little bit, and he slid just back inside the top 10, and he's made his way back up to 6th. He won the Eldora dirt truck race the other day, so see if he can get it done. And I think I heard cameraman Michael D'Amico say that he just got married as well, so congratulations to Gary.
Yes, sir. He and his beautiful wife and their beautiful young son just got married. I think it was yesterday, matter of fact. Hopefully he didn't want to keep that private, but we do wish a good friend of ours and his wife and his family a terrific future. I'm sure they're going to have one. I've known Gary Sexton for quite a while now, and he is a talented driver. He's got a big heart. He found a great woman, and I'm sure their future is going to be very bright. Wanted to mention one other thing real quick. I was looking, and the 98, that would be the truck of
Andrew Kessler.
Andrew Kessler, yes. He looks like he's got new paint on his truck tonight. It's the Aegis Motorsports Chef Andy's Toyota Tundra. I wanted to do another real quick Domino's driver profile while we're under caution. Andy Kessler, he is from Belchertown, Massachusetts. His main team is Aegis Motorsports. He is the driver of that number 98. His sponsors are Aegis Motorsports, Chef Andy's Lobster Rolls. That sounds good right now. And PowerTech Power Solutions. He's been in sim racing 5 years. He'd like to give special thanks to Dave Washington, Aegis Motorsports, and Domino's TYJ Racing. And he's having a good run. He always seems to have a good run. He's got 1 win so far in the Truck Series this year. Do you remember which track that was?
Andrew Kessler actually has 2 wins, and I believe they're both at Gateway.
Yeah, that's right. He did actually dominate there at Gateway.
We have had 2 Gateway races. I'm actually going to go back and double check that information, but I do believe that both races that he won was at Gateway.
All right. Looks like now we have on the radio good friend Gerald Campbell just involved in that last caution. Gerald, real quick, what happened there? Did you get much damage? And was your team able to give you the 4 new Goodyear Eagle tires that I think all the drivers were hoping for?
Well, I mean, the Goodyears are a big help, don't get me wrong. The Goodyears will definitely pick up some speed for you. The damage is done on lap, I don't know, the second caution. I had a lot of damage on that one. The only way I was able to really gain any speed coming out of those turns was run it in 3rd. And being on a different gear setting than everyone else running, it just allowed me to catch up real quickly behind the 73. Didn't mean to get into them, but when you're running a different gear setting like that, it just kind of makes it to where you're running two different grooves than everyone else. So that was my fault. I'm trying to learn it real quickly halfway through this race, trying to make up for the aerodynamics that I've lost. But we'll see if I can be able to make it up there. It's exciting on these restarts when they go 4 or 5 wide. So we'll see how it fares.
I appreciate it, Gerald. Good luck. Hopefully we'll talk to you in Victory Circle or at least the top 3 tonight.
I'll be happy with the top 10 right now, but I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes, sir, Gerald. Take care. Good luck.
Yeah, so just to confirm, both of the number 98 of Andrew Kessler's wins were on Gateway, and this track is nothing like Gateway other than it has flat corners, which I know Andrew Kessler likes the flat tracks, but he's got quite a bit of damage here tonight, and I don't think he's going to be able to contend for the win. He qualified in 15th, so he wasn't the fastest to begin with, and that damage just isn't helping him at all. Still riding in the 20th position, but he'll get it another race, I'm sure.
Yes, sir, Curtis. And for this restart, to reset the field fans, we do have James Ross will be the leader for the restart. Blake Griffin on his outside in that number 2. Mark Jackson's been up in the top 3, seems like, for the last 10, 20 laps. Gary Sexton will be 4th restarting. William Davis will be in the 11, starting 5th. James Somke's moved all the way up for 22nd. Josh Tanner, Ralph Vandervoorst, Gio Bramante, and Judd Danielson top 10. Curtis, I'll let you take the restart.
Green flag, green flag.
Yeah, pace car pulls off. James Ross is back to the point on the restart. He gets a really good launch on the inside. Mark Jackson is actually going to be able to pull side by side with Blake Griffith, who got to start on outside pole there. So see if Griffith can hold on to the 2nd position, or if Jackson can make the inside line work in turn 1 and 2. It doesn't look like he's going to be able to do it. Gary Sexton pulls to his outside. Gary Sexton looking to make his way back up into the top 3 where I think he belongs tonight.
Yes, he is making the move up front. We had 3 wide back in 10th position just a few minutes ago. That was between Judd Danielson, Ralph Vandervoorst, and Gio Bramante. Looks like Gio Bramante took over that position. That'll move him up to 8th. Judd gets a little bit loose, no contact back there, and it looks like 10th or 11th. And up front we got side by side. That looks like Josh Tanner.
Yeah, Josh Tanner looking to the inside of Mark Jackson right now. Josh Tanner, I think, made a mistake on that pit stop.
Yeah, he just was side by side with Will Davis in that number 11. And it looks like Josh Tanner did complete that pass, although Will Davis is on the outside fighting back in that number 11. And in front of them, like you just said, Mark Jackson is up there in the 4th position.
I think Josh Tanner made a mistake on that last pit stop, though, because he went into as William Davis looks inside of him. Josh Tanner made, I think he overshot his pit box because he went into the pits in about 3rd or 4th position, and he came out in, I think, about 6th position. And right now he's battling for 4th and 5th. He's making his way back up there, and I think he got a little bit tight coming off of turn 2. That allowed the 11 to get below him, and now he's trying to fight him back off on the outside coming out of turn 3, and it looks like he gets a little bit wiggly, but he's able to hold on to it and keep up the momentum. Now he's going to have to make his way back around Mark Jackson again. So Josh Tanner has the speed tonight, but it looks like he's just making ever so slight mistakes that are going to end up costing him in the end. James Ross usually runs flawless races, and it looks no different tonight.
Yeah, thank you for that update. He was able to complete the pass on Will Davis in that number 11. And while we're under green, we're going to do one more Domino's TYJ Racing driver profile. Will Davis, he's in that number 11. Actually, it's 11 tonight. He is from Augusta, Georgia. His race team is Cross Continent Racing. Tonight on the trick, he's got Owens Well Service, a new sponsor for him. Some other sponsors he has are Dress Casual Productions and Brittany Davis. He has got 3 years in sim racing. He's got some 14 years in real racing. His racing accomplishments: Class C iRacing Fixed Division 5 Truck Champion in 2016. So he knows how to get around the track in these trucks. He also has a Georgia State Karting Championship back in 2001. A lot of these guys that are fast in our league here at Domino's TYJ Racing, Curtis, have either raced dirt cars in the past, or go-karts, or figure eight like yourself, but they've got real life driving experience in a race vehicle of some sort. And that's one reason they have such great control of all these vehicles in Domino's TYJ Racing.
Yeah, and Mark Jackson and Josh Tanner battling right now. Looks like Jackson was almost to the inside of Tanner, headed into the tunnel turn, but he backed it off a little bit. He backed it way off into turn 1 last time and basically let Tanner by to try and get that run. So didn't quite work out for Mark Jackson. He gave up the spot, but there's still lots of strategy that can come into play in this race if we go green.
Yes, sir. We got side-by-side racing right now between the 24 of Eric Stanford and Jack Watson, that number 66 Pad Southeast Motorsports Chevrolet Silverado. That's Toyota versus Chevy. They almost touch as they cross the start-finish line going into turn 1. It looks like Jack Watson's got the advantage up to 182, 184 hitting the corner. And Eric Stanford gets out of the gas just a little bit. It looks like Jack Watts will complete the pass, and he's getting some more heat. Eric Stanford is now from William Hartman, that number 67 Aegis Toyota Tundra. It looks like William Hartman will also complete that pass. Like we said earlier, Eric Stanford has just a little bit of right front damage, and I think that's slowing him down a half a second lap or something along those lines.
And James Ross still out to a 1-second lead over Blake Griffith, and Gary Sexton's 1.2 seconds behind. So these guys, they're working on it, but they're still losing about a tenth or two every lap or so. So it's still James Ross race to lose, and these guys, I think they're gonna have to think of something outside the box to be able to beat James on this pit stop cycle. They're gonna have to gain a lot of time, and then they're gonna have to short pit the heck out of him, I think, and then figure something out on the track where they can make their tires last a little bit longer, because when you short pit somebody that badly, it usually still doesn't work out in the end. They end up catching you so fast. And here comes Josh Tanner battling for the 3rd position inside the number 17 of Gary Sexton in turn number 3. He dives it down there in turn number 3, and usually people go for the slide job when that happens. He wasn't able to quite complete that. Sexton's still to the outside. Gary's bringing it down there, side drafting him a little bit. This is bringing Mark Jackson up into the mix, but we have a caution, and it looks like the 07 of Tyler Chalk spins around on the front stretch. Nobody hits him. I'm assuming he got loose off turn 3 and then counter-steered back up into the track, and yep, that is exactly what happened.
Yes, fans, as we're bringing up that replay, definitely looks like the 07 of Tyler Chalk got loose, overcorrected, locked it down. No other trucks involved. He ended up facing the wrong way. Once these trucks passed him, he was able to get it turned around. He's going to need 4 new Goodyear Eagles, as well as most of these drivers, although some may come down. And this is where the fuel strategy and the tire strategy is about to happen, Curtis. Like you said, the last caution, the trucks came back out. They had about 35, 33, maybe 30 laps to go. I think that was just over the window. So it's going to be interesting to see if these guys stay on the track and save fuel, or if they're going to come down pit road, just get a splash, get 2 tires, 4 tires. The strategy is going to be all over the map.
Well, it's going to be, we got 27 laps to go here. These guys are going to get down pit lane with about 26 to go. You said fuel window is 25 to 30, so I'm not sure on the exact number, or if 25 is a little bit of a low guess and 30 is a little bit of a low guess, or what the actual numbers are, but I think it's going to be really close on fuel to the end for these guys on whether they can make it without making another pit stop.
Well, I'll tell you what we're going to do, fans. We're going to stick right here. We're going to monitor these pit stops, because like I said, I think this is the pit stop where some serious strategies are going to come into play. These guys and their crew chiefs are on the calculator right now figuring if they can make it on 1 tank of fuel here, and how much fuel they have to put in the truck. Do they have enough time for 2 tires? Do they need enough fuel for 4 tires? As they come around the corner here, they're thinking, the spotter's letting them know, hey, you were fast here, you were slower here, but it's all going to come down to how much fuel they need to get to the end of this race if we go green. And I've said it many times, Curtis, to win one of these races in our very, very competitive league, Domino's TYJ Racing, which, by the way, is brought to you live on All Pro Broadcasting. We appreciate Michael D'Amico and all these great camera angles. Fans, make sure you click that subscribe button. That way you get all the notifications for your next chance to win that free pizza, which right now Those are Wednesday and Thursday evenings. As they come down pit road, it looks like the 51 is going to drag everybody behind him down pit road. I don't see anybody staying out. Do you, Curtis?
No, definitely not. These guys are going to have the opportunity to make it on one more, like, they're going to have the opportunity to make it from here, so they have to come down and take that chance, and they're going to be able to make it without coming down under green. And yeah, that's exactly what you're going to see everybody do. James Ross heading down pit lane right now to the service of his pit crew. He's pitted at the very last pit stall at the end of pit road. We've already seen him overslide his pit box once tonight, so I'm sure he learned his lesson, and he'll park it in here perfectly. Here he comes, and he does just that. So I'm sure 4 tires and fuel for James Ross. But somebody, not sure who that was, it looks like Ralph Vandervorst just did a pass through. I'm not sure if he missed his pit box or something.
Yes, sir, Curtis, and I'm also hearing that a few drivers took 2 tires. We'll get that information up real quick. I want to do one thing we don't usually do. I was covering the pit stop of Sean Kalist. He's in that number 45 Marathon Oil Victory Junction Chevrolet Silverado. Marathon, the American Spirit. One more quick Domino's driver profile on Sean Kalist. Sean is from Brighton, Illinois. His team is SBT. He has been in sim racing for 10 years. He has got a win at Daytona in the K&N National Series. He has also got a B-Class Open win at Talladega, so he knows how to get around the track. He has been a wonderful addition to Domino's TYJ Racing. We're happy to have him. We'd like to give special thanks out to his family, his wife, Barbara, his son, Troy. Also, Tallarico Signs and Designs. They do all the paints on the number 45 of Sean Kalist. He would also like to give thanks out to Domino's TYJ Racing and Laid Back Outlaws iRacing Group. They've given him a lot of advice, and he has definitely improved over the many, many weeks he's been involved here. And fans, that's exactly what's going to happen with Domino's TYJ Racing. If you're looking for a great league to be part of for 2018, you have found it. We are not adding any new drivers at this point, but we will be recruiting here in just a few weeks. Our chase starts, like I said, after the next 5 truck races. At that point, we're going to have our championship at Homestead. So in the month of November, we definitely will be recruiting. The number that you hear to win that free Domino's Pizza, the 919-883-7497 number. That is exactly where you can text if you are interested in trying to qualify for one of our open seats, which we probably will only have a handful for 2018, and they're going to be first come, first serve. We only recruit clean competitive racers. You have to complete a couple of different trial races, and yes, there is a fee to be part of what we're doing. We do have cash payouts at the end of the year. Maybe in 2018 we'll have 6 different crown jewel races where the top 3 drivers get a little bit of a payout. And absolutely, all of our races that are points races are broadcast live on All Pro Broadcasting. So you want to be part of what we're doing, or if you do, make sure you give us a text here, or you can go to our website, Domino'sTYJRacing.com. You get all the information there as well. And we do appreciate you watching tonight. Hopefully you'll be one of the lucky winners of the pizza. If not tonight, maybe tomorrow night. And we will go over the winner for tonight when the race is over. Curtis, what did you see up front as far as changes after those pit stops?
Well, I do believe Mark Jackson took 2 tires because he got the lead there. That or he had a really good pit stop. I'm not too sure if he would have taken 2 tires. They had a pretty long green flag run, so maybe he just had a really good pit stop by the crew and got himself up into the lead, and we'll see if he can hold on to it. But James Ross has been the dominant truck all night, and the only time he didn't have the lead was when he pitted and everybody left him out to dry, so I'm sure he's hoping that doesn't happen again. And still Gary Sexton in the 3rd position, qualified in 4th, and had a little bit of an issue sliding through his pit box, but he's made his way back up there, and doesn't look like he really wants to leave the top 5. I know he probably feels like that's where he deserves to be, qualified in 4th, as I said. Sorry, I've got the hiccups here, and Josh Tanner sitting in the 4th position. Blake Griffith rounds out your top 5 right now. Blake has been sitting in the 2nd position all night, and I'm sure he's not really too happy in the 5th position, so he'll be wanting to get back up there as well.
Yeah, I tell you what, Curtis, like we were talking about earlier in this race, strategy is a big issue. The 3 of Mark Jackson did only take 2 tires. Looks like he will be starting as the leader on this restart, and we're going to have, looks like, about 22 laps to go in this race. I think that's correct. We got 70 laps. They're on lap 48 when they have the restart. So these guys should make it easily to the end of the race. Depends on how quick you burn up your tires and if you're able to save your tires. Who can do that the best without making any mistakes? That's who's going to win this race. Curtis, I'll let you take the restart as we talked about before.
Yeah, and this time Mark Jackson is going to lead it. I don't think he's led the field to a restart yet tonight here at Pocono. And James Ross, he got to start. I think the last restart he also started on the outside of Ivan Garcia. So he got a good run the last time. We'll see if James Ross can grab the lead headed out of turn 1 with Mark Jackson to his inside.
Yeah, some other drivers I'm looking at that are not in the top 2 or 3.
Green flag.
Actually, I'll let you take the restart. Go ahead, Curtis.
Yeah, they're headed through turn 3 here. The pace car lights are off.
Yeah, I think they took the green flag, and Mark Jackson is leading him into turn 1. He's got James Ross on the outside. Neither one of these drivers want to give an inch here. James wants to reclaim that lead, and Mark Jackson, when he wants to keep James Ross behind him. But James, with those 4 fresh tires, does complete the pass as they go through the tunnel torn, and Mark Jackson will fall back in second. We got side by side behind them. Looks like Josh Tanner and Blake Griffith, Josh Tanner and Gary Sexton side by side as they go into turn 3. And Josh Tanner definitely gets the advantage as he goes to the outside of the 17. He completes that pass.
I'm kind of surprised the outside line worked there through the tunnel turn for the 84 Josh Tanner, but he is on a move. He's trying to make his way by Mark Jackson for the 3rd position right now, or for that's for the 2nd position.
Yes, sir. They are battling side by side as they just blaze through the start-finish line, diving off into turn 1. Brand new tires on these trucks are up to 183 miles an hour. And it looks like Gary Sexton is a close 4th position. He's waiting for these guys to figure it out. And that has enabled Blake Griffin in that number 2 to catch right up to him. So we almost throw a blanket over the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th.
These guys are battling hard right now, and that's exactly what James Ross wants to see in his mirror, is everybody just battling it out, because that allows him to drive away, just run his line, and not even worry about the guys behind him. So that's exactly what he wants to see. But Josh Tanner has made his way up into the 2nd position, and he's only 0.7 seconds behind now, or maybe just a little bit more. And before he had a lot more trucks to deal with before he could get close to, or get into that 2nd position behind James Ross. So he might be able to gain some positions now. Before he was 2.8 seconds back, and he knew he had a lot of work to do. So it's definitely a little bit better to only be 0.7 of a second back and have that away at than 2.7. So they're still battling hard behind them. Mark Jackson and Blake Griffith right behind Gary Sexton headed into the tunnel turn. They're still side by side, and that's allowing the 11 of William Davis into the picture.
Yes, sir. Real quick, about a half a lap ago, Wesley Whitfield in that number 71 Gorto Mechanical Services truck hit the wall, slowed down. All these trucks got around them, except for, I think, the 166 of Ralph Vandervorst. He got into the back of him, lost his engine, and now we have a caution. We'll get that pulled up in just a minute, fans.
That's Giovanni Bromanti and the number 66 of Jack Watts tangle in turn 3. Looks like minimal damage for both of those guys, but might have been a little bit of net code as well. I see a little bit of a... Doesn't really look like they hit too much, but they probably would have without net code nonetheless. But looks like the 89 of Romanti just turned down a little bit on Jack Watts. Wasn't clear, headed into the tunnel turn. He thought he was, and just got turned a little bit, headed into turn 3, just got turned a little bit and scrapes the outer wall.
Yeah, it definitely looks like there's not much damage on either one of those trucks. They obviously got together to go lose many, many positions. Gio did an incredible job of saving that truck. Think he got the lettering and the numbers, that 89 on the right side of his truck, rubbed off, but I don't think it's too much damage whatsoever.
Yeah, he should be just fine. And taking a look at the front of the number 66 of Jack Watts, it looks pretty heavily damaged though, so I'm not sure if, yeah, he did have some damage before that incident, so I don't think that was from hitting Gio there, and Gio's truck should be just fine. Jack Watts, his front end's a little bit beat up, but he's running okay in the top 10, so he should be fine as well.
So this is going to make things a little bit interesting. All these drivers get one more chance to try to restart.
Staying out, and looks like Josh Tanner's going to stay out. Gary Sexton, Blake Griffith, Judd Danielson stay out, but Mark Jackson, William Davis, James Somke, Eric Stanford, and but everybody else is coming down pit lane.
That is exactly interesting. Some of these guys staying out. The guys coming down with fresh tires. They're going to have a lot of work to do to get back through the field.
And I think these guys think they can make it for sure if they're not coming down pit lane. They know they can either save enough fuel to make it to the end, or they could already make it. So your top three or 4 all night, pretty much. They're in the top 4 right now, and that's going to make for an interesting restart here with under 20 laps to go.
Yes, these drivers are going to have to be figuring out exactly what they can do to get around the 51 of James Ross. James Ross has got, like you said earlier, 6 wins this year. He is driving that famous number 51 Jegs Toyota Tundra. Aegis Motorsports is his main sponsor. James has been one of the cleanest competitive racers we've had so far in the Dented Fender Truck Series. And for one of these drivers to make a move to get around him, they're going to have to figure out something that they haven't done yet to get this win.
Yeah, he's just been so good all night, and it does look like he's saving fuel. I'm riding on board with him, and he's definitely clutching. Doesn't look like he's shutting his engine off, so I don't think it's too much of an issue for him.
Yeah, I'm sure he will be ready for the restart. And these guys with brand new fresh tires, that's what's going to be interesting to see, is if they're going to be able to make their way around these other trucks in a quick manner. Although one lap around here, Curtis, does take about 55 seconds. So 20 laps to go. They will have plenty of time to do it. The real question is, has James abused the tires on his truck, or will he be able to stay out in front of these guys with new rubber? That's going to be the question.
Well, I think the new rubber starts at Giovanni Bromanti in the 7th position, or Mark Jackson actually in the 8th position. I think it's Mark Jackson is where the new rubber starts. So we'll see what all the trucks behind them can do. I think about the top 5 to 7 did stay out on old tires, and I think the top 3 will be able to hold everybody off. I'm just not sure about all the guys behind them who are on pace with all the the top 7 to 15 around with even tires, and now they're going to be on a tire disadvantage. So I think the top 3 can deal with the tire disadvantage. I'm not too sure about the others.
That is exactly going to be very interesting. Right now we have on the radio Josh Tanner. You're having a great night so far. Looks like you're going to restart second in that 84 machine. How does your truck feel, and what do you feel like your chances are to pull this victory off tonight?
It's going to be tough. It's really difficult to pass, and James is pretty quick too. So I've got mired back in front of traffic a little bit, but worked my way back up. So now that I'm back up here, hopefully I have something for him.
Hey, very good. Tell us a little bit about Reader's Digest if we got a second.
Yeah, iRacer Digest is a podcast that I do with myself and a couple of my iRacing buddies. Haven't done an episode in a while. We're still working on hopefully coming back soon, but we have a few episodes in the backlog. If everyone wants to check it out, you can get it on iTunes or anywhere else you get your podcasts.
Hey, appreciate it, Josh. Good luck, and we will hopefully talk to you in Victory Circle.
Let's hope.
That was the driver of the iRacers Digest. Excuse me for pronouncing that wrong. Number 84 machine. Like you said, he's got a couple of wins already this season, and he's looking good tonight. Let's see if we've got one other driver we can talk to real quick.
Seen him all night.
Blake Griffith. This is Robert and Curtis in the broadcast booth. Do you have a copy?
Yeah, man. How's it going?
Excellent, excellent. You've had a very strong truck, been in the top 5, it seems like, all night tonight. How does it feel? How does the track feel? What do you think your chances are pulling off the victory tonight?
Well, it's very tight on entry, very loose on exit, and I don't know. These guys in front of me are really fast, but I'm going to try to bring home a win for JTM Motorsports tonight.
Yes, sir. Hey, we appreciate it. Good luck. Hopefully, we'll talk to you in Victory Circle.
Thank you, man.
Thank you, Blake.
We're going to have 15 laps to go at the restart, I do believe, and pace car lights are off, so these guys will be getting ready to go back green here in about 30 seconds, headed down the short chute. And James Ross, he's been really good on the restarts here, and I'm surprised the outside line can't get a little bit better of a jump, because the green flag waves right away here when the pace car pulls off. There's no question about it. As I said before the race even started, I think, is there's not that much of an advantage of being the control car here, because you don't have that much time where you that big of a window of where you can control the restart before it goes green, and you just have to go anyway. So you see James Ross go as soon as that pace car pulls off, and he gets a good jump on Josh Tanner on the outside. See if Gary Sexton can get to Josh Tanner's inside before they hit turn 1. And Gary Sexton has been really good on these restarts, but he's kind of, it looks like he's got a little bit loose on the bottom there. I'm not too sure. Actually, no, he didn't. He got a really good run off the corner there, actually. Blake Griffith was to his outside, and Sexton just put the power down coming out of turn 1 and held on to that 3rd position. So Judd Danielson actually has made his way inside the top 5. He gets into the back of the number 2, Blake Griffith, and can Blake Griffith save it? He did.
It looks like Blake controls that. Great side by Blake Griffin. We just talked to him in that number 2. He has obviously lost the position, but he doesn't look like he's got any kind of damage that's going to slow him down. He's still running very fast speeds here. He falls back in line behind Mark Jackson. And that looks like that will give the 85 of Judd Danielson the 4th position. Judd started all the way back in 16th. He has older tires on his truck, but like we were talking about during the caution, it's going to be interesting to see these drivers with new tires, like Mark Jackson at number 3. He gets a great run on the inside here of Judd Danielson going down the backstretch. Those 4 fresh tires do look like they're paying dividends, Curtis.
And behind them is an absolute hornet's nest with Jack Watts leading the way. William Davis and Giovanni Bromanti are single file behind them. Actually, Davis looks to Watts outside in turn 3 here. Can he make the pass? And they're going to be 3 wide. Giovanni Bromanti trying to make 3 wide in turn 3 here. They're all going to single file out by the time they hit out of the turn, but that was pretty close, and they're all just single file lined up for about 8th through 12th.
Yes, sir. One quick question for you. I was going to ask you, on this track and these trucks, does the draft come into play going down the front stretch?
Yeah, it can, especially with these trucks. They punch such a huge hole in the air, and if you're all by yourself and you have 2 other guys that really know how to work the draft, you have to work with the other driver behind you to make the draft work. You have to be able to stay on their back bumper and really have similar braking zones so that you don't end up plowing into the back of them or get too far behind them or whatever happens. So I mean, you really have to drive similar to the other person, I think, to make the draft work. And so really, I don't know if you're going to see too many people using it tonight, other than when they're setting up a pass, just trying to suck up the draft as much as they can and then dive to the inside.
Yeah, that's exactly what we've seen many times down the front stretch. We've got side-by-side back here for 10th position. I was there for a second between James Somke, that number 1 old school Mountain Dew Kickstart, and Eric Stanford, that 24 ES Billiards Toyota Tundra number 24. And looks like on the inside of him, I'm thinking Tyler Chalk, that 07 Southeast Motorsports, has got 4 newer tires. He completes that pass on Eric Stanford, who's had a little bit of damage all night long. Another big mover we got right now is the 89 of Gio Bramante. He's in that Aegis Motorsports Toyota Tundra. He's now looking to the inside of the 66. That would be Jack Watts and that pad Southeast Motorsports, as they are side by side going down the front stretch. Looks like it's going to be a drag race to turn 1. Who's going to lift first? It looks like Gio lifted first. He's hoping to get a great run off of this corner, although the 66 of Jack Watts has that position now. Looks like Gio falls in behind. How's it looking up front, Curtis?
It looks like Josh Tanner is actually gaining some time on James Ross. Last time down the front stretch, James Ross actually turned down below, close to the pit wall to try and break the draft a little bit. And we'll see if he does the same thing this lap. Josh Tanner is within 0.3 of a second, though.
Yes, all these drivers in the top 5, looks like 8, 9, or 10, are single file. We do have some side-by-side battles right now. Again, we have Gio Bramante, that 89, and Jack Watson, that number 66. Last lap, they cross the start-finish line side-by-side. They are side-by-side again as they cross the start-finish line. It looks like the 66 has got the exact same position. They went 2.5 miles around this track, and neither one of them was able to complete a pass as they are side-by-side again going through turn number 1. This time looks like Gio in that 89 does have a little bit of an advantage. He squeezes right in front of the 66 Jack Watts. Jack will try the crossover move unsuccessfully, although he will be looking at the outside. Can't make it happen as they go to the turn at the end of this backstretch. Depends on who can get in here best with the most speed and momentum. Looks like Gio will finally complete that pass. Another side-by-side battle we have, is Blake Griffin at number 2. He's looking to the inside now of the Mark Jackson number 3. This is the number 2, the number 3, side-by-side as they come down the front stretch. It looks like the number 3, Blake Griffin number 2, Hickory Springs Silverado will fall back behind the 3 Southeast Motorsports over the top paints of Mark Jackson and the 3. So these guys are wearing out their tires a little bit. I think both of them have brand new tires. And this is just letting Gary Sexton, that Hex Cam Chevy Silverado, get a little bit further ahead. And he's trying to track down Josh Tanner, the 84 we just talked to, under caution. And he's trying to track down James Ross in the number 51. You see any near the battles, near the middle of the back of the pack, Curtis?
Looking for some, and looks like Tyler Chalk is actually trying to make a move on Jack Watts. Michael Fravert follows him as well. So and then Michael Fravert gets beside Tyler Chalk, and it looks like they're almost 3 wide behind them. That's Andrew Kessler, Jack Watts, and Eric Stanford. So they all get it settled out. They're battling hard for the 13th through 15th position.
Yeah, these drivers, they've been racing, it looks like about 62 laps, 61 laps. They got about 8 laps to go to the checkered flag, and they are battling here in the middle of the back of the pack for that position because they know that the chase is coming. Some of these drivers are near the cutoff point for the chase, so that every position does count.
And right now, everybody inside the top 5 except for Blake Griffith has a win and is already locked into the chase. Blake Griffith is still 5 seconds back, so he would definitely need a caution to have any chance at this one. But still, Josh Tanner has a chance at it. He's staying even with James Ross. He just needs to find a way to knock off a 10th or 2 for about 5 laps here, and he did it that time. He knocked off about a 1/4 of a 10th, but I think he's going to need to knock off a little bit more than that per lap, and we'll see. I mean, James Ross is always really good on the long. Caution is out, and this changes everything. We'll see what happens. Ivan Garcia goes around, headed into pit road, or it looks like at the entrance of pit road. I'm not sure if he was planning an entry, if he just got loose off of turn 3 there. It looks like he just got loose off of turn 3.
Yes, fans will pull that replay up right now, and like Curtis just said, Hold your seats, fan, because this does change everything. We're going to find out in just a minute who's going to come down pit road and who's going to stay out. The 72 Tide Rod of Ivan Garcia gets loose. We've seen this 3 or 4 times with different drivers tonight. He locks it down. He does not hit anything. He does not violate the commitment cone on pit road. He gets it turned around, and no other vehicles were involved whatsoever. But this does, Curtis, set us up for a very, very exciting restart here. They're going to have probably 5 laps to go once everybody gets ready and filed back up, double file for the restart.
Yeah, and I hate to say it, but I think everybody's going to do what James Ross doesn't do, and that's exactly what James Ross was. This is exactly what James Ross was not hoping for, and they are going to get. Actually, I don't think anybody is really going to pit. They're going to have probably 4 laps to go with the restart, and if somebody does pit, it'll be interesting, but it's just going to be a tough call to bring your truck down pit lane with only, it's going to be 2 to 3 laps to go, and that's too risky if you're inside the top 5 in my books.
Yes, sir, Curtis. Thanks a lot. Fans, we are not going anywhere. We're going to give you pit stops here in just a second. Do want to remind you, you are watching the Serve Pro 175 live on All Pro Broadcasting here with Domino's TYJ Racing Dented Fender Truck Series. Real quick, Serve Pro has got the fastest response time to any disaster you will ever have in your home. You could have a hot water heater blow. You could have a flash flooding, get water in your home. You could have a small fire. You could have anything happen. You want to call 1-800-SERVE-PRO. Serve Pro is ready for whatever happens. They will make it like it never even did happen. Our driver in the field tonight, Shane Parrish, has a Serve Pro franchise in Grapevine, Texas. There's over 1,800 franchises across the United States, and we are definitely happy to have them on board. So make sure you call 1-800-SERVE-PRO if you have any issues. And on pit road, it looks like everybody is faking. Josh Tanner almost went down. Looks like the only truck that's actually coming down, the first truck, looks like it's going to be James Somke in that number 1. What did you see? What did you see, Curtis?
Yeah, it looks like that's exactly what happened. Nobody took the bait. Everybody's going to stay out on these tires and finish the race out on those ones. This is going to be an interesting restart.
Yeah, it looks like James Somke came down. Sean Kalis in that Marathon 45 came down. Michael Favorite in that Twinkies truck came down and got service on his vehicle, that number 36. Looks like also Eric Stanford came down. I think I heard over the communications he just took 2 tires. None of these drivers needed much fuel whatsoever. So, Curtis, this is going to set us up for a very, very interesting restart here in just a lap or 2. Let you go over the top 5 or 10. I'll see if we can't get a hold of one of these drivers, see what they're thinking for the restart of this race.
Well, James Ross has been leading the entire race, and Josh Tanner, he's been close. They're qualified 1-2. That's still where they sit right now. Gary Sexton, he qualified in 4th. He's sitting in 3rd right now. And it looks like Robert has caught up with one of our drivers.
Yeah, real quick, we're going to bring in on the radio a good friend of ours, Will Davis. This is Robert and Curtis in the broadcast booth. How are you running tonight? How's the truck feel? What do you think your chances are?
The truck was pretty good. Me and Mark, I think we're on new tires compared to the leaders, but the leaders are just so quick. I think we're burning tires up trying to catch back up to them. So we'll see what happens. It'll be a fun few laps here. We'll see. Hope for at least the top 5 would be nice, but I'll take what I can get to stay out of trouble.
Yes, sir. Looks like you started 24th. You're up to 6th. Tell us real quick about your sponsor, Owens Well Service.
I've had been sponsoring me since I was really a little kid in kart racing. They came on board when I was about 13 years old, and they've been supporting me ever since. It's a good group of guys. Obviously, they do well service, and they've been around for a long, long time.
Hey, appreciate it, Will. It's awesome to see great sponsors on our trucks here in Domino's TYJ Racing. Good luck tonight. Hopefully we'll talk to you in Victory Circle or at least the top 3.
Appreciate it, Robert. Y'all take care.
Thank you, Will. Go ahead, Curtis. I'll be right back.
Yeah, still got another about a pace lap and a half here, and yeah, it should be really interesting restart here and finish to the race. We've had Josh Tanner, Gary Sexton, and James Ross up there all night, and you could see one of these guys make a really aggressive move on the restart, dive bomb, slide job, and try and grab the lead. Blake Griffith as well. I'm sure he's hungry to get back here up inside the top 3, and got Mark Jackson there, not too far back there in the 5th position. So any of these guys could still grab the win. William Davis started in 24th tonight, so it's just still a few laps to go. Anything could happen. Pace car lights should be off this time. And looks like trying to see, we still have 20 trucks on the lead lap here tonight. 27 took the green flag, so it's been a decent race. Most of the cautions we have had have been self spins and not really
Sorry about
getting involved with each other. But yeah, this should be a really interesting finish here. One of the best of the year, I think.
Yeah, thank you, Curtis. This is going to be pretty exciting. Just trying to get another word with another driver. We're getting ready to go back. Green here, I'll let you take the restart, Curtis. Got a whole lap, my bad. I'll try to get a hold of Mark Jackson again real quick. Give him just a minute, Curtis.
Yeah, and I'm interested to see if anybody could make a buy at James Ross here. I mean, James Ross has been on the outside the last few restarts. It looks like he got a hold of Mark Jackson, actually.
Yeah, sorry about that. Mark got his radio fixed. Mark, how did your truck feel? What do you think your chances are to win this race?
There we go. Hey, Robert, man, we're about to come to the grid here. We're coming through tunnel turn. We've managed to keep it clean. Going to try to have a good finish, man. That's just all that matters here. Tanner and Sexton and Blake and Mr. Ross up there, they've been the class of the field so far, but you never know.
Yes, sir. Good luck, Mark, and hopefully we'll talk to you at Victory Circle in top 3.
Man, that would be awesome. Thank you, brother.
This is without a question going to be the final restart on the night. It's going to be 3 laps to go at the green flag, and James Ross is going to lead him to it. See if Gary Sexton or Josh Tanner, Blake Griffith, Mark Jackson, who we just talked to, has anything for James Ross here on the restart. Pace car is off for the final time tonight. James Ross gets a good jump down to turn 1. Gary Sexton to the inside of Josh Tanner. And these guys are going to have to get single file if they want to have anything for James Ross. Gary Sexton looks like he gave Tanner a little bit of room there and backed off into that 3rd position. Blake Griffith looking to get the run inside of Gary Sexton. Sexton with the block. Headed down the backstretch, and caution is out. That is going to end the race. James Ross is going to win. Looking for the cause of that caution. It looks like they're 3 wide coming out of turn, through the tunnel turn there, actually.
Yeah, we're going to get a replay pulled up. Yeah, turn 1.
Turn 1, Jeremy Crandall, James Somke, and trying to see that other truck involved. It looks like William Locklear gets involved as well.
Yeah, we're getting that replay pulled up right now, fans. We'll see exactly what happened here. Looks like there were 3 wide. William Locklear, James Somke in that number 1, and Jeremy Crandall. Yeah, it looks like the one of James Somke just got into the left rear quarter panel of the 73. These guys were racing back here, looks like for 20th position, 21st position, something like that. And that turned the 73 into the 4 of William Locklear. Unfortunate for these drivers in the back.
Yeah, that is going to make us end this race here under yellow, and unfortunately our race order didn't get really a chance to change up much there, but yeah, James Ross is going to take the victory here tonight. Josh Tanner looks like he's going to finish in second, and Gary Sexton, another solid top 3 finish. Second top 3 of the week. We actually have had 2 Dented Fenders Truck Series races this week, the other being on Sunday, our Eldora Special Dirt Race, and Gary won that one, so solid week for that number 17 machine of Gary Sexton.
Yeah, thank you, Curtis. These drivers will finish this last lap, and we will definitely see what happens here. This is going to shake up the points a little bit. Not surprising to see James Ross in victory circle here. And these other drivers look like we're going to get a good finish as well. Some of the guys you expect to see in the top 5, and a couple other guys having good runs as well.
Yeah, and while we're riding here under this final pace lap, we'll go on over the unofficial finishing order, pending anybody blowing up here, blowing a motor or getting a penalty on the last lap. This will be your finishing order. James Ross is going to win here tonight. 84, Josh Tanner finishes second. 17 of Gary Sexton is going to finish in third. Blake Griffith in the number 2 finishes 4th here tonight. Mark Jackson finishes 5th. William Davis 6th. Judd Danielson in the 85 finishes 7th. Gio Bromanti in his number 89 finishes in 8th. Tyler Chalk 9th, and rounding out your top 10 is the 66 of Jack Watts. Gerald Campbell going to finish in 11th spot tonight. Wesley Whitfield 12th. 36 of Michael Fravert, he's going to finish in 13th tonight. 70 of Tim Rangers 14th. Ivan Garcia in the 72 finishes 15th tonight. 98 of Andrew Kessler, he's going to finish 16th here on the night. Eric Stanford involved in early caution, got some damage, finishes 17th here tonight. Sean Kalis finishes 18th, James Somke 19th, and rounding out your top 20 and your lead lap drivers is Jeremy Crandall. Ralph Vandervorst finishes 21st, William Hartman 22nd, William Locklear 23rd, Jeff T. Martin 24th, Vernon Markheim 25th, Shane Parrish finishes the night in 26th, and Joe Johnson rounds out your field in 27th. Checkered flag being displayed for James Ross, and he gets his 7th win on the year.
Yeah, congratulations to James. We're going to try to get him here for the interview. We're also going to interview Gary Sexton, who finished 3rd, and Josh Tanner. Again, fans, you were watching the Serve Pro 175 here live on All Pro Broadcasting. Last time I want to remind you, fans, to please click the subscribe button. That way you get all of the notifications for the free pizza giveaway, which we will be giving away in just a minute. And if you, Curtis, will go ahead and interview Gary Sexton, I think you got hold of him.
Yeah, got a hold of 3rd place Gary Sexton here. Gary, a little bit of an interesting race for you. You qualified in 4th, and heard you say you're getting used to some new pedals and overslid your pit box, found yourself back just inside the top 10, and was having a little bit of a tough time making your way back up inside the top 5, but a little bit of a pit strategy, a little bit of on-track strategy, made your way back up there, and finished in the 3rd position tonight. How was your race?
Yeah, pretty much sums it up, Curtis. I'm running some new pedals, and it's I finally got the racing down and the braking points on that, but I just haven't made a ton of pit stops yet, so overshot my box and went from 2nd to 12th, and I knew I was a lot faster than most of the guys back there, so I didn't panic too much. It was still early, and made up 6 spots under green, and then got the next stop I made sure was perfect, and came in 6th and came out 2nd or 3rd or 2nd, I don't know, something like that. And just kind of maintained. I didn't have anything for James or Josh up there. Those guys were the class of the field. Unless they would have wrecked each other, I don't think I was winning that one tonight. But it's I got that win on Sunday, so just kind of gonna work on the chase now. Work on getting faster and trying to keep up with James. It looks like Josh is going to be sticking around for a while. I know he's always fast, so trying to find out what they're doing differently than me and keep that speed over the long run.
All right, Gary. Yeah, like you said, that win earlier on Sunday locked you into the chase. Another solid third place finish run here tonight at Pocono. As always, who would you like to thank?
Yeah, I'd like to thank my family and my, new family and my wife and I. We tied the knot there yesterday. So I'd like to thank her for dealing with my racing habit, and my brothers and my dad and everyone of my friends who watch that don't have to and take the time out to watch. And thank my team, CCR, Will Davis, Joe Johnson. Joe had a pretty early night tonight and got caught up in that big wreck on the long pod straightaway. But Will had a good run. Glad to see him back racing again. And yeah, I'd like to thank All Pro Broadcasting, Domino's, Robert, Curtis, you, everybody that helps put all this together every week. It's so much fun.
All right, Gary. Well, congratulations on the third place finish and on the new wife as well. So we'll let you go ahead and celebrate. Have a good night.
Yep, 10-4. Thanks, guys.
I believe Robert has caught up with our second place finisher of Josh Tanner.
Josh Tanner, this is Robert and Curtis. Congratulations. Looks like you started second, finished second. We've got another driver in our top shelf series. He seems to finish second all the time. I know you've had one or two second finishes. How many times does this make you finish second? And what could you have done to win the race?
I'm not sure how many times I've finished second total, but I know it's 2 in a row. I'm not sure what I could have done differently there. It doesn't help whenever you finish under caution, but I was going to try something. I hadn't decided what it was going to be. Probably kind of just try to race him hard, but clean, obviously, but never really got the chance to. It was going to be tough either way. It was tough all night to pass, and we were pretty much neck and neck on speed, so it was going to be tough.
Yes, sir. You both had very, very competitive trucks there. I think if the caution might not have come out, you might have had a chance on him. But I tell you what, these trucks, it's hard to pass. Everybody says that. You get the pass done on the restart. Again, congratulations for second place. Who would you like to thank?
Well, I'd like to thank you guys for putting on the league and broadcasting the races. You all do a great job. And then obviously I want to thank my sponsor, iRacer Digest.
Hey, thank you so much, Josh. Good luck. Have a great weekend, and we'll definitely see you next time.
All right, thanks, guys.
Thank you so much, Josh. It looks like Curtis has found his way down to Victory Circle, where our winner is waiting in the champagne.
Yeah, and a familiar spot here for the driver, the number 51 of James Ross. James here in Victory Lane for the 7th time here on the 2017 Domino's TYJ Dented Fenders truck campaign. You pretty much dominated the entire race here tonight. You got the pole. You only really found yourself in a bad situation once where everybody kind of decided not to pit with you, and the next time you overslid your pit box. Actually, it looks like having some technical difficulties here. Now I've caught up in Victory Lane with the number 51 of James Ross. James, it's a familiar place for you here, 7th win on the season, and looks like, you just dominated all night. You started on the pole, and you only really found yourself with issues once. It looked like nobody really wanted to pit with you, and on that first caution, you found yourself back in about 7th, I think. Had to make your way back up there. Then you overslid your pit box. I think you overslid, and that just made you decide to take 2. Ended up being just a fine decision. You were still able to drive away from the field. But yeah, how did the truck feel out there tonight? And 7th win on the season. Absolutely dominant.
Thanks. Yeah, the truck felt great tonight. Took a lot of patience at this place. They don't call it the tricky triangle for nothing. But and you were spot on. That one stop, I did slide through my box, and then we switched strategy there. Went with 2, and I thought I was going to kind of go to the back, but surprisingly, I did actually loosen the truck up a bit. really liked the way it drove on two, with that few laps on the left side. So wasn't something I was planning on, but I think it did help us in that run. That's when we were able to stretch it quite a bit.
Well, I think you've headed into tonight. You've led over 600 or over 700 laps, on the season. That's almost 500 more than any one other driver. You're a definite favorite headed down into the chase here. We've only got 4 races left before the chase does start, and getting another win tonight, really, you just working on taking those wins away for all these drivers, the openings really that are left to grab a spot. Is that what the idea is?
Well, I don't know. Somebody told me some guy named Curtis won a whole bunch of these races last year, so I thought I might try and do the same thing.
Yeah, well, I know my strategy last year when I was doing that is, try and eliminate as many people from winning as possible from automatically making their way in, and I think that's a pretty good strategy. So congratulations on your 7th victory of the season. I'm sure we will see you back here not too soon, or not very long, I should say. And who would you like to thank here again?
Oh boy, well, it's pretty much the same list. Obviously All Pro Broadcasting, sorry about that. Michael for all his work behind the scenes, yourself, Robert, all the other guys that jump in from time to time. Want to thank ServPro tonight. I think they were the sponsors of this one, and Shane Parrish. I know he didn't get quite the finish he wanted, but thanks for jumping on board and doing that. My team at Aegis Motorsports, particularly Dave. We spent a lot of time, he and I, working on each track and each place we go to. So big thanks to Dave, Giovanni, Andy Kessler, Shane, Sean Kalist, and I'm going to give a shout out to Andrew Farnars, who was in there with us tonight in the room. Always good to see him. Big congrats out to Josh. Great to see him back here in the series and running up front like he always did. Great finish for Gary. Good to see that. Thanks to my wife, my kids for allowing me to do this. And already looking forward to racing next week.
All right, James. Well, congratulations. We'll let you go. A definite favorite headed down this final stretch into the chase, and we'll let you get at it and start practicing for next week. Go and celebrate.
All right. Thanks a lot, Curtis. You have a good night.
Yeah, you as well.
Yeah, Curtis, that was a very interesting race like normal. We had a lot of green flag laps. We had some cautions tonight. What is your takeaway?
It was really a little bit more caution-filled than I expected. Big, wide track. I figured we were going to at least get one green flag stop in, but the amount of cautions we had definitely shook things up a little bit. I was surprised maybe a couple of the guys in the top 2 or 3 or maybe even 5 didn't try and come down pit lane and change up that strategy at the end, but it is what it is. James Ross got his 7th win on the year, and no surprise.
Yes, sir. It was a very interesting race. An update real quick. We do have a free pizza winner. Tim Sharp from Nashville, Tennessee, picked James Ross way early, about 9:15 or so this evening. So congratulations to Tim and his family. Don't know if he's got a family. He'll be contacting me. We'll get together. He'll get his free pizza over the weekend. So for Curtis Young, Michael D'Amico with All Pro Broadcasting, who does all the great camera work, thanks again for watching the Domino's TYJ Racing Den and Fender's Truck Series here at Pocono for the ServPro 175. You do not want to miss your next chance to win the pizza. Tomorrow night, we'll be having our Top Shelf Cup Cars racing at Indianapolis. That's going to be a real great race. I encourage you to tune in tomorrow night. Same channel with All Pro Broadcasting at about 8:45 p.m., 8:50 p.m. is when qualifying starts. Make sure you tune in and get your alert. If you have not subscribed, click the subscribe button. And fans, thanks for tuning in tonight. We'll see you tomorrow night, and hopefully you'll be the one to win the free pizza. Have a good night. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
Two wheels in the open road, life and death in my own hands. I am my own justice, I am my own man. I never look behind through all that I have seen. 'Cause all I need is...
Hey, this is Garrett Smithley, driver the number 0, JD Motorsports Chevrolet, and you're watching All Pro Broadcasting.
And the guns, mothers and daughters and fathers and sons, we're Americans. We make up America.